So you and your partner have been browsing Zillow for the last couple of years, sending each other listings back and forth that are way over your budget, just daydreaming about owning a great home. However, this year, things are starting to change. You have a little bit more money saved up, or you're getting a gift from one of your family members to use as a down payment. And on top of that, you got a raise at your job, and you're thinking, this is the year that I'm actually going to be able to purchase a home. So now you want to take that virtual relationship with Zillow and make an in-person one. You want to start going to open houses. Stop. Now, before you do that, it's extremely important to understand the current market that we're in. In 2024, it is a seller's market right now, which means that if you're not fully prepared to enter the market and strategically get things set up to make sure that you're going to be successful, you're going to be in for a world of hurt. So if you need to get a loan for the property, the first thing that you need to be doing is getting a pre-approval before you go tour any homes whatsoever. So in today's episodes, I'm going to give you 6 reasons that you need to get a pre-approval before you start looking for homes, and you definitely want to pay attention to number 3 and 4 because it could be the difference between you getting an offer accepted and an offer rejected in today's hot sellers market. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so reason number 1, believe it or not, in today's market, there are sellers out there that don't want to do open houses and are only doing private showings. And on top of that, sellers are often requiring that buyers show them proof of a pre-approval before they're even allowed to step foot into their house. So imagine that you found that dream home that you really wanted and you can't even go to check it out. That is some of the issues that buyers are running into right now, especially when you're looking at homes above the $1 million price point in Orange County, because there are a lot of sellers that just don't want to have a bunch of people in their house. Maybe they have kids, maybe they have pets, and they have to go through the whole process of straightening things up, getting pets put away, getting the kids out of the house, and they want to make sure they're doing that for serious buyers. And if you're not a serious buyer, they don't want you in their property. So if you don't have that pre-approval in hand, you could be missing out on your dream home and not even have a chance to see it before it goes into escrow. The second reason to get that pre-approval is because it's going to help you understand your budget. So when you talk to a lender, you're going to give them your specific financial situation, and they're going to be able to run the numbers and not only tell you how much you can afford, but let's say you find a house, you can actually send that to the lender. They're going to take the purchase price, the tax rate for that city, and they're going to be able to say, this is your monthly payment, and it's going to be very close to accurate in terms of what your final payment's going to be. And then you can have them run a bunch of different scenarios for you. So you can say, what if I put 8% instead of 5% down? What if I do this different loan program? What if I buy my interest rate down 0.5 point? And you can run all of those, and they can basically tell you which is going to be best for you so you can better budget and figure out if that home is going to fit within your monthly budget or not. So if you don't have that pre-approval, all you're going to be doing is using guesswork. You can use those free online calculators, which, don't get me wrong, is a great starting point to figure out how much you can afford. However, this is going to give you very specific information, and that's going to give you a lot more confidence when you go to eventually place an offer. Okay, so the third reason, and probably the most important as we're in this hot seller's market right now, is it's going to strengthen your offer when you eventually go to place it. So it goes without saying that right now, if you place an offer without a pre-approval and you need a loan for the property, the seller is pretty much just going to laugh at you. They're going to throw your offer aside and are not going to consider it seriously. So having a pre-approval is a necessity in today's market to even place an offer. However, did you know there's actually 2 different types of pre-approvals? And this is something that you really need to pay attention to because it can make or break you being able to get into the home of your dreams. So the first type of pre-approval is just your standard pre-approval that you're going to get from most major banks, and it's going to just tell you this is how much you can afford. You gave them some financial information, maybe your W-2s and tax information. They ran it through real quick and said, you can afford this dollar amount based on the information you gave us. However, there is a secondary type of approval that not all banks are going to do, especially bigger banks. These are typically done by smaller lenders. It's called a fully underwritten pre-approval. So this is basically one step above a pre-approval. And what the lender is going to do is they're going to get all the paperwork they need. And then on top of that, they're going to put it through their underwriting department. And their underwriting department is basically the one that's going to approve or deny the loan. So when they do that, they're going to find some miscellaneous paperwork that you're probably going to need to have before you can get that loan fully approved. So for instance, let's say your parents give you some money for a down payment. Now, if you get a regular pre-approval, they're just going to verbally ask you where that money came from and make sure that eventually they're going to document it. However, with an underwritten pre-approval, they're going to actually get that documentation ahead of time so it's all in the file, ready to go. And this is extremely important because when you get a fully underwritten pre-approval, it tells the seller that you are a more advanced buyer, that you're going to be able to close escrow because all of the hard work the lender had to do was completely out of the way, and your offer is almost as good as cash at that point because all the paperwork is done. All they need is to put the offer in and get it accepted. So if you're not getting that fully underwritten pre-approval, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot, and you're going to be competing with everybody else that just has a standard pre-approval and giving yourself one leg up over the rest of the competition. Because ultimately, yes, the seller is always looking for the best price possible, but they also want that guarantee that the buyer that they go into escrow with is actually going to close escrow. So if you can show them that you're going to give them a better guarantee to do that, you might be able to get your offer accepted even at the lower price and be able to get into the home of your dreams. So number 4 is it's going to speed up the home buying process. So whether you need a quick escrow or not, oftentimes you're going to run into sellers that want to get their house closed quickly. Maybe they're trying to move, or maybe they're an investor that wants to be able to close that house as quick as possible because every day that they hold on to it is costing them money. If you don't have that fully underwritten pre-approval and you're just doing a standard pre-approval, or you're trying to go through the pre-approval process at the same time of placing an offer, the best you're most likely going to be able to do is going to be a 25 to 30 day escrow. However, if you have that fully underwritten pre-approval where all the paperwork's out of the way, oftentimes the lender is going to be able to close that file in maybe 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, taking a week or a week and a half off what everybody else is doing and ultimately saving the seller money. Again, putting yourself in a much better position to be able to purchase a property and be able to win in a multiple offer situation. Now, not every seller is going to need a quick close, but having the ability to be able to do a quick close if you find the right property is just going to give you one more tool in your tool belt to be able to get your offer accepted over somebody else's. Okay, so reason number 5, and this is by far the most emotional one, is it's going to help you avoid heartbreak. So what do I mean by this? I see this all the time where buyers go in, they use some of those online calculators to get an idea of what they can afford. They say, I can afford these payments, I'm gonna go start shopping for homes, looking for homes in a certain price range, and they start seeing some they want to actually place offers on, and then they talk to a lender, but only to find out that they actually can't afford those homes because of something in their finances, and they have to look at homes that are $200,000 less. Now you can imagine if you're looking at fully renovated move-in homes and you're getting your hopes up and kind of understanding that that's the range you're looking at, and then all of a sudden that's pulled out from under you, and now you're looking at fixer-uppers that you're gonna have to spend a lot of time and money to be able to get into that same condition. It could be very disheartening, and oftentimes it can make you want to drop out of the home buying process altogether. Now, if you look at that compared to talking to a lender first, getting that pre-approval and knowing what you can afford up front, that's going to put you in a completely different mindset because you're never going to think that I can afford these beautiful homes that are move-in ready in this price range in this neighborhood. You're going to know what you can actually afford, and that's going to set you up for success versus that disappointing feeling as soon as you start the house hunting process. And the second reason that could really emotionally destroy a buyer is that maybe you do find that dream property you like, you go through the process, you get the pre-approval done, you can afford the payments on it, and then you're about to place an offer only to realize that house is already off the market because somebody else got it instead. In today's highly competitive environment, it's not uncommon to see a house hit the market on a Friday and then be in escrow by Monday or Tuesday. And most lenders don't work on the weekends, so oftentimes if you need a pre-approval done on a Friday, you're not going to be able to get that done in time to be able to actually compete for that home and be able to place an offer to be able to have a chance of getting your dream home. So I see it happen way too often where buyers aren't super motivated to find a home, but if they find the right dream home, they can place an offer on it and they don't get that pre-approval done. And then when they do find that dream home, maybe it took them 2 or 3 months to find that perfect property, then they go through the pre-approval process and then they end up losing the home because they can't get an offer in on time. So even if you're not in a hurry trying to find a home, I highly recommend you get that pre-approval done. You can always renew it down the line after a few months, but that way, if that perfect property does pop up that you're interested in, again, you're actually able to compete, place an offer on the home, and have a chance to get it versus watching somebody else walk away with that dream home of yours and then have to take another couple months to try to find something else. Okay, and the sixth and final reason to get that pre-approval is that it's a lot easier than you might think. So especially if you're a W-2 employee, the lender is not going to require that much paperwork. paperwork. So maybe they're gonna ask for your W-2, your tax return, some paycheck stubs, your bank statement, but there's not a lot of paperwork that's needed to get that pre-approval done. And then to get the fully underwritten pre-approval, oftentimes it's just a few additional pieces of paper. So if you get that done out of the way, you're going to set yourself up for success. It's not hard to do. And if you work with the right lender, they shouldn't be intimidating and trying to get you to purchase a home. They should be there to take your finances and guide you on a path that's going to help you purchase a home, feel financially comfortable doing so you don't feel house poor where all your money is going to your mortgage, and be able to get you in a position where you could become a homeowner. It's completely free. There's no charge to it. At worst, if you can't afford a home right now, they're going to be able to give you a path and show you how you can get there, whether it's saving up a certain amount for your down payment, or your income level needs to be this high in order to afford the type of home you're looking at. And that way you can put a plan in place to eventually get to home ownership. And then if they go through the process and you are approved, again, even if you don't buy a home, it doesn't cost you anything. So if you're thinking of buying a home, even if it's not right now, maybe it's 6 months away, I highly recommend that you talk to a lender, because they're going to be able to financially guide you and get you to a point where you're going to have success when you eventually go to purchase that home. And again, it's free. So if you don't already have a lender that you trust with your finances and you need a referral for a great one, feel free to contact me anytime. I have a network of some great lenders I can refer you to, and they're going to be able to help guide you to that dream of home ownership. And if you are thinking of purchasing a home this year and you want some more information about how much you need to actually have saved up for a down payment, or maybe how much you need to make to be able to afford the average price home inside Orange County, feel free to check out this video right down here where I go over all of that in a lot of detail to help better set you up to be able to purchase a home down the road. So until next week, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you on the next show. Bye, everybody.